Hello, it's Beverleigh here over at Crafty and Chaos with another video for you, and I just wanted to show you how to make a scene and a twisted easel card. So this is the file we're aiming for. Let's get started. Now just remember, this twisted easel base card could be used for any sort of front, if you wish. You could do it floral for birthdays or whatever, but this is what we're going to make, and it's in separate parts. So we've got the witch and the castle as a backdrop. I've done the thing so it's orangey in the back, and then the witch is separate, which can be an embellishment that you just put on, and then you can position it wherever you wish. Alright, so that's what we're aiming for, and we're going to start now. So I'm just going to delete that so we can start that from scratch, and this is what we're aiming for. So what I did is I went on to Pixabay, which is one of my favourite image search engines where you can get free images, and I typed in Halloween silhouettes, and I just had a look for something that I thought was good, and I thought this one looked quite interesting, and it looked like we've got enough contrast to get a decent trace. This could be another one that you could have a go at, possibly, and there would be more. There's lots of things on here that you could have a go at tracing. So what I did is I clicked on that. It says it's a free for commercial use. So you could use it for your projects that you're making to sell, or you could use it for your personal use without a problem. So you hit free download, and then you go over to Canvas Workspace, and what you would need to do then, wherever you've downloaded the file to, normally it would be in your download files. You're not going to be doing the SVG importing because it's not an SVG. It's actually a PNG, or it could be a JPEG image. So we're going to trace the image. So I'm going to choose the file, which is this witch scene I called it, and open it, and it'll bring in to this box here a sort of preview of what it looks like. Now we want it to trace the inner part of the side, not the outline, so we're going to click on colour, and we're going to leave it at that, and we're going to say preview. And what we're looking for is to get a good trace, is that we get a nice turquoise line around that part of the image, and we have done. So I'm going to say OK, and I'm going to pop it onto my mat by saying OK. I don't want the image on my working area, so I'm going to say no to that, and that will just put the file that I've just made on my desktop. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to take the witch out of the way, because I want that one to be a separate file. Then, because I know that there's a bit cut out here, I know that if I move that away, there's going to be a little bit underneath that I'm going to need to get rid of. And the next thing I want to do, so that I've got a solid image here, is I want to get rid of that witch in this file. So I'm just bringing on a circle that I can position over the witch without overlapping either of the edges, and I'm going to select both files, both the circle and the image that we've just traced, and I'm going to go edit and weld, and that is effectively going to weld that out for us. Okay, so now just to keep this witch in proportion, I'm going to select both, and I'm going to edit, and I'm going to group them initially, and I'm just going to make them a little bit smaller just by eye for now, until I've got them the size that it's easy to work with. Then I'm going to ungroup, and I'm going to click off, move the witch out of the way, put her off to the side, and we'll come back to her later. I might just turn her black, and then she's easier to find. Okay, so there's our witch. So what I need to do now is bring on a basic shape, and I brought on a rounded square, and I made it 5.5 inches, and maintain the aspect ratio. I'll do that again, 5.5 inches, and this one needs to be 5.5 inches. So that's made that a perfect, no it hasn't, I've obviously done something wrong. So we need it to be a 5.5 by 5.5. I think it's because I tried to do it without it being locked and then adjusted it, and bring that on. Now obviously this isn't quite small enough, but what we can do is we can select both, edit, group them together, and I'm going to make it smaller so that I can see that this one's going to fit over that one. And then I'm going to click on that one, edit and ungroup, and again I'll just move the witch off to the side, bring him back in, and then I'm going to position this one roughly in the centre, and I'm going to check that that file's on top, and it is. If I click in the middle of that one, that's on top. If this back one gets selected when I click here, then that's not, so you'd need to send it to the back. So I'm going to select both files and going to line them up on the vertical and on the horizontal axes, as you see. Then I'm going to select both. I'm going to go to edit, process the overlap and subtract, and that will effectively punch that shape out of that back square. And if I fill it with colour, you'll see what I mean. So if I highlight this and make that black, that's made our backdrop for the card. Okay, so then what I did was brought on another rounded square, just made it so that when it fits behind the castle, and if I turn it to orange and send it to the back, you can see that that is a nice matting underneath, so that you've got that colour in the background. You could make that any colour you wanted, and if you wanted to make a matting layer, you'd just go edit, process the create an offset line outward, say OK, and that would make you a matting layer. So let's just make that orange, and we're going to click off, select both, line up centrally and horizontally, and then I'm just going to click on the top layer and edit, send it to the back. So now you can see that I've got a nice orange matting layer if you wanted to do that. So what you would do, I'm going to just move that off to the side, and that's that file complete with the matting layer and the witch. And all I did for the moon was just the, oops, shan't centre off too far, was brought on a circle. I'll just scoot her back in. So you can position her where you want. Make the circle small enough so that it's the moon. I made it a moonish colour, whichever colour you wish. And I did it so that it was like a yellowy moon, rather than so that it sort of tones in with the existing picture. And I think it was this one actually I chose. And you can position that in, and you could make your moon as big or as small as you want, as it suits you. So that's the sort of card front, if you will, for the twisted easel. Then I'm going to bring on a square. So I'm going to hit the square, and again I want it to be 5.5. I'm going to hit maintain aspect ratio this time, 5.5, and say select OK. And I'm going to take that off to the side. I'm going to duplicate. I'm going to click off, click on and duplicate it, and then I'm going to bring that onto my mat, take off the maintain the aspect ratio, make it 11 inches and say OK. So now I've got the base file and this square here. So what I'm going to do is I'm again going to duplicate that square and leave that to the side, bring this one in, align it, so I select both and align them both to the top and to the left, like so. And then I'm going to click off and click on the square, and if it's not selecting the square, it means that the square is not on top. So I'm going to edit undo, just redo that so I know they're lined up, click on that one, edit, send to the very back, and if we now make that a pale colour, we can see what we're doing. So we can see that the square is now on top because we can see this line of it. I'm going to click off that, click on the square. I'm going to click again to expose the nodes. I'm going to click on this one over here, and I'm going to say minus. Then I'm going to click on this one here, hit minus, and then we've got this one just left at the centre, which will be our centre fold, if you will. So what I'm going to do now is click on the hourglass, and it's actually selected it for me. If it doesn't, you can zoom in so that you can select it manually. So I'll just click off, I'll just zoom in so that the line gets really big, and then I'll go on select and click off, so you can see that if I go on and select it now, I'll just zoom in a little bit further, because sometimes this is where people struggle, is clicking off and then getting just that line selected. And if you zoom right in, you make it much easier for yourself. So I'm then going to make it a cutting line and a perforating line, and I just want a small one, because it's only a 5 by 5 or 5.5 by 5.5 inch card. So that's put the score line at the centre. I'm going to select that and the score line, and then I'm going to group them. So all we need now is the fold line here. So what I'm going to do again, I'm going to select the main card and this layer, this square, and I'm going to line up at the top and also to the left. So that's put that square on top. Now because we can't see the square full at the bottom where the score line is, we know that the rectangle's on top. So we can send that right to the bottom, and now we can see the square. So I'm going to select that and select again to expose the nodes. I'm going to hit divide there, and then I'm going to come over here and hit minus, and that's just left us that diagonal fold there. So again, I'm going to zoom right in, and then go on my select tool until I can select just that central line, and then I'm going to go on edit, cutting line and perforating line. So that's put the perforating line in the diagonal position, and I'm going to go view fit to mat. So that's where you would fold it there, and then as you fold it across, it'll twist into that twisted easel style. So I'm going to select both. I'm going to say edit and group, so that now I can move my base card around without actually worrying about disturbing them score lines. And a 5.5 by 5 inch square will fit nicely on your 12 by 12 mat. So if you've not got a larger mat, you know you're going to be alright cutting it. So now I'm just going to I'm going to group it so I can move it all together, and I'm going to bring it across, and I'm going to fit it on to see how it's looking for size. Now you can have the top layer just a little bit bigger than your absolute base layer, because all you're using that is something just to support it. So just because I've got this a bit rounded and the one underneath is square, I'm going to just make it ever so slightly bigger, and so that when it's on the actual easel, obviously it's going to be over here and twisted, you'll have that. And then as that twists over this way, you can put your greeting and your stopper here, as you see. So that's a quick way to come up with making the Halloween card. So all I've done again is used Pixabay to find my images, and again, like I say, it is a site that I use a lot to find images, and I can usually find what I'm looking for. Although I am compiling a list of places where you can get images slowly and surely. I've got a few on my list now, and when it gets a little bit longer, I'll share that with you. Okay, so that's it. All you need to do now is give it a title, and I called it the Halloween Twisted Easel. Like so. Hit this key to save, and you can overwrite. I'll overwrite it because it's just the same file, I don't need to do it again. I'm going to say OK, and then you would hit download, and it's because I've not got it on the mat. Oops, I'll let it undo that. I'll just bring that all onto the file so that everything is actually on the mat, so that if that happens to you and it says it can't download it, it means that something, and sometimes it's something really, really small that you've left. Like if I'd have left that tiny piece on right at the beginning, it could have ended up off the mat and I wouldn't necessarily have seen it. And I've had that before and thought, why is it not downloading? And it's because there's a little bit hanging off, or there's a little bit off the mat somewhere. So then when you hit download, it will come up with the dialog box, select your method, and the news is I'm quite excited because my birthday is coming up, and it's just at the 10th of October, and my husband's bought me a CM900, so I will have the ability to transfer my files via wireless technology after the 10th of next month. So I'm quite looking forward to that, and I'll share with you my first cuts on the new machine. So I hope you're looking forward to that as much as I am. All right, so Thank you for watching. Please give me the thumbs up, like, share and subscribe. We are growing the channel and it's really, really kind. The comments that you're leaving about the files, I'm really, really pleased, and honestly, I do thank you for your lovely comments. So remember, the file will be available for free over on my blog at Beverleigh 10 Blogspot, and that's Beverleigh spelled Beverleigh 10 blogspot.com, and you're more than welcome to download the files there for your own personal use. You can make and sell the actual projects that you make from the files. The only thing I ask you don't do is bundle together and sell the files on DVD or a CD or something like that, but you are more than welcome to sell any project that you make with the files that I use. Now, the only exception to that is you've just got to be careful if I've used a font in the file that is perhaps only free for personal use, then you should really check with the author of the font that I've used if you're okay to sell it. I only ever gift my cards or give them to families, so it's not an issue for me. But if you make cards to sell, you might just want to consider that. Okay, so thanks for watching and I'll see you soon. Bye.